Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to do a kind of chatty get ready with me. I'm going to be using a real minimal amount of products today because I wanted to dress up. I have a dress on and I have some nice jewelry on, but I still don't feel the need to put on like full spackle. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'm going to start with a little primer. I'll just lift everything down below. I'm not going to tell you what I'm putting on. You may notice as I'm going through and doing it, but my goal is more just to see how you're doing, how you're surviving the being home for what seems like an eternity. And I know it hasn't really even been a month yet, but boy, does it feel like it. We're getting close though. We're getting close. I'm trying to remember. My kids still went to school. Their last day of school was March, what was it? 15? I have to look at a calendar. March 16 was their last day of school. That was a Monday. And since then, it's been homeschool. So if I look at it, we had a week of homeschool, then we had spring break, and then we're on our third week of homeschool. I'll just tell you, I wish it was going better. My kids are awesome, and I love them. Where's my concealer? But sometimes I wish I didn't have to be on them constantly. And this is one of those things where I'm trying to figure out for myself, at what age do kids become self-motivated as opposed to motivated because they've got like some sort of if you don't do it, you're going to lose a privilege, because there's been a lot of lost privileges in this house. And I don't like, since my husband is still, he works at a local university, and since education is happening at home, he has to be in his office to make sure, because he's one of the support staff at the university. He's not a teacher, professor, but he has to make sure that his department is up and running so that students as well as professors can get everything else going that they need to get going. Anyway, long story short, my husband is still going to work, so it's just me at home during the day with the kids. I'm trying to figure out, my oldest, who just turned 12 last month, is doing really good at being self-motivated. So I haven't really had to like crack the whip. But my 10-year-old, she just turned 10 in March. Their birthdays are 2 years and 5 days apart. There's been a lot of like, what are you doing? Why is it 10 o'clock and you haven't done any homework for today? Just stuff like that. And I realize the hard part for me is because I am one of those people who has underlying health issues. If you've never heard me talk about it before, I've had 4 brain surgeries. I've had 13 total surgeries. If something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong with me. But I do have some endocrine issues. I'm adrenal insufficient. I'm hypothyroid. So I'm persistently exhausted. And then on top of that, the fact that it's been 7+ months of having a headache 24/7 that never goes away is really starting to take a toll. So I don't always wake up when my kids wake up. Now, my kids have been very independent from an early age because, well, they've had to be, because mommy wasn't always there to make breakfast. So when they were in kindergarten and first grade, they knew how to pour themselves a bowl of cereal and, you know, eat an apple with it for the morning so that they could have a fairly balanced breakfast. And my husband would take them to school. And now that they're home, I know that they're not going to be hungry because there's enough food in the house and they can make themselves breakfast. But when I get up an hour after my kids have gotten up and my youngest still hasn't started her homework, I'm like, what have you been doing with your life? But I feel like the ogre. I really do. I feel like I'm constantly like, get your work done. And I hate being that person. So much do I hate being that person. I've never respected and appreciated teachers more than these last 3 weeks of homeschooling. And I'm good at teaching my kids other things, but it's not a full day of math, science, social studies, music. Music's easy for me because I'm a musician. I've taken classical music lessons forever. So my kids go to a school where there is a really vibrant music program. There's orchestra, there's bells, there's choir, there's steel drums, there's band. Like, you want a music group, they've got it. They've got a special little fiddling group where all they do is kind of bluegrass and old-timey music. It's like a really great school. So the music is easy for me to help them with. But what's hard for me to help them with is the math and science. So I kind of wait for my husband to come home, and he kind of, after dinner, he sits down, and if we need help, like 6th grade math, I forgot how hard 6th grade math was. I don't remember how to do fractions. I don't remember how to do like the beginnings of basic algebra. I'm just going to be honest, that is not my forte. If you want to write a speech, if you need to give a presentation, if you need help with your grammar homework, I'm your gal. But if you want to know about why things happen in the world the way they do according to physics and biology and the math behind it all, don't ask me. I'm like a deer in the headlights. The other thing that's been hard for me is I'm used to being able to record Monday through Friday whenever I want because my kids are at school, but now that my kids are home, it's harder to find a time during the day when they're not. Like on the other side of this wall is the kitchen, and the kitchen is kind of like a great open area. It goes to the kitchen, to the dining room, to the living room, and that living space, we live our lives in that space. It's really kind of like the heart of the house. And if we're not sleeping, that's where we are. And so my kids are, grabbing snacks or doing dishes. The piano's in that room. The harp is in that room. My kids the TV is in that room. It's all one big giant space, and it's hard to not get. And then, of course, if you just go that way a little bit, it's my laundry room, and it's the day I'm filming today is a Wednesday. It's their laundry day. They do laundry twice a week, Sunday and Wednesday, so they always have clean clothes. And laundry's going. I'm just like, man, there's always noise, because when I'm home and the kids are at school, laundry's not going. I'm filming when the neighbor is not mowing the lawn. There's nobody but the pets in the house, me and the pets, and that's usually the only jingle jangle that you hear. And I'm just like, okay, this is my new normal. Let's not complain. I don't know. I'm going to try and make this not be like a whiny, oh, woe is me. And I know we're all kind of in that space, but my new normal is very different. One thing that my kids have been enjoying, I told them yesterday I would do it, and I did it today, and they really loved it. So I think it's going to be like our new thing in the morning is that I make breakfast. Because I told you before, since they were in kindergarten, 1st grade, they served themselves a bowl of cereal, had a banana or an apple to go with it, and out the door to school. And they made their own breakfast. And so now I'm awake. So this morning I made Ina Garten's sour cream banana pancakes. So good. So good. And I'm going to make something different for breakfast every day. Now, I don't get up at the same time my kids do because, let me find some highlight here. My kids they get up a lot earlier than I do. They're normally on the way to school if it's a normal schedule and not, quarantine schedule. They're on the way to school by 7:30 in the morning, and I don't wake up until usually after 9. Well, these days after 9. Usually I'd wake up around 8 o'clock and they'd be gone. My husband would kiss me goodbye, and out the door they would go. But since it's been 7 months of being in constant pain, I find that I'm starting to sleep later in the morning. Occasionally I'll fall asleep accidentally, like sitting in the chair or at the sofa in the middle of the day. But I thought, you know what, things that we can do together. Now that I'm home and they're home, let's take a pause at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll get up, 9:30, make some breakfast. We'll sit down and we'll have breakfast together. And then we're like, I didn't know you could make pancakes. I was like, it's so sad. There's a lot of things I can do. My girls are discovering a lot of things about me now that they're home. I sometimes worry that if I'm talking while I'm putting on brows, my brows are going to be interesting. So give me a second to put my brows on. We're not going to do a lot of eyeshadow today, just a little bit of crease work, probably using all mattes. So the one thing that has been really good for us, my husband had made this comment last night. My youngest daughter was working on her science fair proposal. My husband was working with our oldest on some math because mommy can't do that during the day. And I was sitting down making some masks at the sewing machine for all of us. And he was like, I feel kind of like it's a Little House on the Prairie moment. And I was like, you're right, it is. The family's gathered around the table. We're all together. We're getting our evening, chores or whatever done. And it was one of those things where I was just like, oh. It really, this whole time where we've been kind of quarantined together has been good and bad. I would say good in the fact that I'm learning more about my kids and they're learning more about me. The bad part has been that feeling of, I gotta get out of the house. And I know we're all feeling like that right now. And so when that happens, I will, the kids and I will get in the car and we'll go for a drive. And we live literally on the edge of town. We live in a very small town in Washington State, and if you drive like a mile away, you're like in the fields. There's a lot of vineyards, there's a lot of wheat fields, there's a lot of alfalfa, so you can just drive through the hills, and it's just like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, especially right now since it's spring. Maybe I'll throw a picture up for you of one of the photos we captured on our drive the other day, and I was just like, oh, beautiful, gorgeous. So the scenery is great. We're not getting out. My kids are, riding their bikes around the neighborhood. I'll go on a bike ride with them sometimes, but a lot of times we're just staying in the house. And it's starting to, cabin fever is starting to set in. That's for sure. I haven't been plucking, not that you can see really well, at my brows. And I kind of don't know if it's accidental, because I feel like everything's been kind of like, who cares? Press pause. So I haven't shaved my legs in a while. I haven't plucked my brows. A lot of maintenance is kind of like going downhill. And I know I should do it for myself, but part of me is happy and then not having done it. Kind of like, I don't care. And I can easily fall into the I don't care. All of a sudden, I'm still in my pajamas and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't had a shower, and it's like, ugh, take care of yourself. And then there's the moment where it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm watching a movie on weekends with my kids and I'm like, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm still in my pajamas for the win. So I kind of go back and forth between the two, and I think my goal is to only do it on the weekends. I did spend all of yesterday. I wasn't in pajamas, but I was in my loungewear and I kind of didn't care. And I hadn't done my hair. I did brush my teeth, but that was about as far as we got. I was like, okay, basic hygiene, check. The rest of it, nope. No checked boxes, no makeup, very little skincare. I did have sunscreen on though. Anyway, so this quarantine has really put me in a different frame of mind. I'm not gonna say that, everything's honky-dory, fantastic. It's kind of been a little bit of a mind bender for me. I really missed going out for coffee. And so I've got 2 giant pitchers in my fridge. One is cold brew and the other is iced tea. And I really wasn't a big iced tea drinker until last summer. And I don't drink a lot of coffee. Since I had a kidney stone removed almost a decade ago, my doctor was like, no caffeine unless you want more of these. So I very rarely drink coffee or caffeinated beverages because I'm always worried about getting another kidney stone. It was very painful. Just not gonna lie. It's one of those things where it's like, if I can avoid doing this again, I'm gonna avoid doing this again. So I drink a lot of water, but sometimes you just need something other than water. So I made some cold brew last night, and I just poured myself a cup this morning, and it's half. Like whatever I could do, but I still want the coffee. And I thought I could make myself a cup of coffee, but my cups of coffee, I don't have a coffee warmer, a coffee cup warmer. So once I pour it, like I've got like 7 minutes and then it's tepid and then it's like, why bother? And I don't always get through when you're doing homeschooling with the kids and other daily chores around the house. I should just sit down and drink my cup of coffee. But as a mom with kids, who has time for that? I should make time for that, but I don't. So cold brew is my answer. I can carry it around with me. I can refill it as needed, and it's half calf, so I can drink a lot of it. This is where I go. Do I even want to put on mascara today? Probably not, but I will give my lashes a little curl. What do you kind of skip when you're doing, I have a lot more makeup on today than I intended. Part of it was just, I'm here and I'm reaching to like my faves right in front of me. Let's put a little, my favorite gloss right now. The M Cosmetics True Gloss in Moroccan Sunset. Well, that brings a lot of color and light to the face. Oh, I feel like a person again. It's funny what, taking a little time for yourself will do. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know a couple of things in the comments below. Let me know what the coolest thing you found you can get delivered to your house. If you've been buying specific things, like your favorite thing you're waiting for. Like for me, I just found out I can order farm fresh eggs and have them shipped. since we're not supposed to be going out right now, I'm running low on eggs and I was desperately looking. And so the farm is out of eggs at the moment, but they should be back in a couple of days, ready for shipment. And I'm like on the wait list, like, send me the eggs. And I would also love to know what your best time of day is. For me, when my kids get their schoolwork done and we can do something other than, why isn't your homework done? Why isn't your homework done? And when my husband comes home for dinner at 6 and we can all just sit down, eat, and then the rest of the evening, whatever we want to do together as family, play a game, watch a show, go for a bike ride, just sit and chat. Sometimes he'll sit down and he's been reading the Lord of the Rings trilogies to the kids. And like, it is very much Little House on the Prairie. You like Pa's sitting by, not the fireside, but he's sitting in, the big armchair and the rest of us are just kind of all huddled together listening. It's fantastic. And most challenging times. I'd love to know what your most challenging time of day is. And for me, it's like waking up in the morning and realizing my kids have not been making wise decisions on how to spend their time. And it's 9:30 and they still haven't started their schoolwork. And you've been up since when? So anyway, let me know what you've been ordering, what you love to get in the mail these days. Best and most challenging time of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.